In May's AILA Interview of the Month, Georgia-Alabama Chapter Chair Sarah Owings shares how her chapter worked with local groups to organize collaboratively around important immigration issues. With the recent executive orders, what challenges has your chapter faced at the local level?
Well, at the local level, mainly what we've seen are trying to respond to the imbalance in power. The government has far more organizational structure than we do. We've also struggled to deal with the volunteer demand because we see lots and lots of people who have been practicing in other areas of the law for years. They come to us and say, I've been doing real estate for the last 30 years. I don't know anything about immigration law, but I'm looking to you as the experts and asking, how can I help? We've also struggled to respond to the media demands. There's been lots and lots of inquiries based on the rapidly changing nature of what's happening with immigration, and also making sure that we are able to respond to government decisions and advocate correctly in order to make sure that we're both advocating at a state and local level as well as a national level regarding the changes in immigration policy.
How has engaging with local organizations helped your chapter better navigate those issues?
Well, it's really allowed us to scale up as far as our ability to place volunteers. We have been able to work with other groups and had volunteers that have come to us and said, we want to help. What can we do? And by filtering those volunteers to other organizations where they can perform discrete tasks that can be monitored and supervised when they don't have the direct immigration knowledge that an expert who practices regularly in immigration would, has allowed us to meet that demand for volunteers and also fill that need for people to help. And also it's really been wonderful to sort of work as a coalition on advocacy issues. We've been able to help with groups like Advancing Justice by attending their lobby day. While we're not members or necessarily on the staff of Advancing Justice, we do support their efforts. And so by going with them, I think it really it has a big impact on the state government to say, look, we have this coalition of folks that all feel the same way about these issues, and AILA stands with these other organizations regarding the bills that you're attempting to pass.
How can other chapters create successful relationships with local organizations?
The best way to create relationships, I've found, if you cannot actually attend meetings, by helping them promote what they're doing. I send out a weekly newsletter to my chapter, and I make it open for our members. If they have ancillary things going on, they're allowed to send in things that I will then include the newsletter so that people know about volunteer opportunities that may not be directly held by our chapter, but that they're out there in the community. And by doing that, I have frequent email contact with other groups, and through that, that's really allowed us to sort of cross-pollinate and expand how we function, so people are working with each other. Additionally, one of the great things that we've been working on is this Georgia Immigration Law Working Group. I refer to it as a problem in immigration where you're tasked with climbing a mountain, but you may look in your bag and all you have is essentially like a plastic spork and a Bic lighter and nothing that's going to be really helpful for that task. You don't have all the tools that you need. But if everybody looks in their own bags and figures out what they can do to combine their efforts, then we're able to then climb the mountain together. And that's what that group has been about doing. It's essentially just a stakeholder group. It meets and says, what are we doing? How are we responding? What's happening? What is your group doing? What's this group doing? What's that group doing? And by working to build capacity and have those connections, we're able to respond to larger challenges. It was through those connections that we were able at the airport to quickly contact groups that were able to help file lawsuits, that were able to come and translate, that were able to help with all the tasks that we had when in a really rapidly changing situation. And I think that by having friends, we're going to be able to level the playing field. We're able to respond and do what we need to do. So being helpful, showing up, definitely making sure that people know that other organizations' goals can also be your shared goals, and working together is the way to get through this.
Thanks, Sarah, for joining us.